the day.
We'll have to see what happens here. Phoenix1, again, still sort of finding themselves as a team, but things seem to be on the up. We'll see if they crash straight into the wall here versus Immortals. Gragas and LeBlanc, Phoenix1's first 2 bans, and Zach, Galio, Caitlyn on the way for Immortals. Caitlyn second instead of the traditional Galio.
Yeah, we were having this conversation earlier where red side bans are pretty much Zach, Caitlyn, and Galio in whatever order you please. Yeah, it's pretty much become pretty stale and locked there for this draft. It's kind of harkening back to the days of Camille, LeBlanc, Rengar. So, you know, it'll get mixed up a little bit as this is the last week that's being played on 7.12.
Yep, that's true. And there's first pick Elise, so continuing to be, I think, the first pick actually of the weekend, but certainly one of the strongest available junglers. That leaves open a lot. And Xmithie himself has not played that many Elise games and has often preferred to play different matchups. His Gragas has been exceptional. He plays it a lot into this particular matchup, but Thresh is that first overall pick, going to go down to Olleh.
Yeah, Thresh, Olleh, I mean, these things go together like, you know, peanut butter and jelly. He plays it so often, and I love watching Olleh on pick champions. And so there's the Rek'Sai as well for Xmithie, so decent pick potential right off the bat for Immortals. But I assume Phoenix1 is going to go with a Tahm, Kench, or Braum here for Xpecial.
Yep, I like this pick though a lot. From Xmithie side, Rek'Sai is maybe the best jungler, not named Zach, who of course is permabanned on this patch. I mean, a lot of players again are going to Elise, but Xmithie has always preferred less of the aggressive style junglers, even though he can play them. So what Phoenix1 have to answer with. There's Renekton actually for Ziggy, Flame's most picked champion, I believe, this split. And one more to come for Phoenix1. Like you said, support seems like it's the obvious takeaway. I mean, could play Braum here as well. I think supports differ on whether or not they like the matchup specifically. And MikeYeung is also, oh, never mind, he already has a pick. So it will be support and good prediction on the Tahm, Kench.
Yeah, I mean, for Xpecial, who's only played Tahm, Kench, Braum, and also Thresh, it's pretty easy to predict that he's going to go with one of those champions. And when Thresh is locked in, pretty easy to say, all right, Tahm, Kench will be the one. But the Renekton for Zig is interesting because he's been stepping up a little bit more. It's also the most played champion for him this split as well. So the contested top laner there taken away by Phoenix1.
Well, there's Syndra actually the last pick in phase 1 from Immortals, so time to protect the very powerful mid laner.
Also, Immortals kind of felt Bjergsen's wrath yesterday where he seemed pretty angry on that Syndra, wanting a little bit of revenge for getting beaten by Jensen back on Friday. And so he took it out on Pobelter, but now it's his time to have that Syndra, and we'll see what they end up counter-picking it with or playing into it here. There are a few things that can play well into it. Some people say Lucian is good. Others will say that you can go for the Echo, right? It's old counter-pick.
Vladimir as well. I mean, there are a lot of options. Fizz, a really old counter-pick that no one really plays anymore, but the thing for me that makes Syndra so good is how scary it is when you give her a lead. So it's not just like, oh, I can't play against this, because you can play a lot of different champions, but as soon as you start to fall behind, you in your lane and the rest of your team start to feel that cascader problem. So it's taken away for a lot of reasons, but protected here by Immortals, banning both the marksmen in the mid lane, actually. Corki and Lucian taken away, with Shen banned away from Flame by Phoenix1.
Yeah, some of the very few things that can put the pressure onto the Syndra early on, whereas you were talking about Fizz and Echo, they kind of have to wait a few levels, whereas this right out of the gate puts pressure on her levels 1 through 5. Expecting possibly a Fiora or Jarvan ban here, another top lane ban, I would assume, unless they want to knock that AD carry down a little bit further with maybe a Jhin or a Varus.
Kalista,
Kalista's the one, okay. Don't want that extra safety for Olleh.
No, I mean, it's been a lane that Cody and Olleh have played and is picking up popularity again. It's a very old duo lane here, but Kalista has not been meta relevant for quite a while, so it's been nice to see her creep back into the bot lane here and there, but like you mentioned, is going to be free reign here for Cody Sun if Immortals do want to take an AD right now, and looks like Jin's been the pick of the weekend.
Yeah, Jhin has jumped up a whole bunch in terms of his pick. He's #1 picked AD carry right now, and just looking across the board, there's a lot of things that have just been picked up and have been very common here. The Thresh is #1 in terms of support. The Jhin is the #1 most picked support. Rek'Sai, #1 most picked jungler. So Immortals have a kind of across the board a composition of what's being picked a whole bunch. And Orianna is the most picked mid laner this week. We'll see that most likely for Ryu, yes.
Interestingly to see him take it into the Syndra. This is one of the matchups you tend to try and block when you pick Syndra away, but are you going to feel confident in that 1v1? And looks like last pick here for Phoenix1. We talk about how they like to build around Arrow. Not too many ADs left, but Varus is open if he wants it, but Twitch, I think, is a bit better of a choice for this team. We'll see exactly where Phoenix1 want to land on their bot lane now.
And Arrow has some of his best performances on these carry champions. His Kog'Maw is his Kog'Maw is Twitch. And when he has protection, and this is why Xpecial is a good fit for this team right now, is because he's playing things like the Braum and the Tahm, Kench, that he can keep Arrow safe, and then he is that team fighting god.
Well, there's Jarvan there for Flame in the top lane, so sticking to the meta.
Yeah.
After Renekton, pretty quickly comes Jarvan.
Yeah, Rumble Jarvan. Jarvan, though, I really like this because one of the things about top lane Jarvan that it goes a little bit unsung is he does have versatility, like Kobe was saying a few days ago, but I think it's just the reliability on him reaching backliners. He can just jump in, and if you have low mobility backliners, which is very common nowadays with things like Orianna, Syndra, Kog'Maw, Varus, like basically all the AD carries save for Caitlyn and mid laners, you can get on them pretty much guaranteed, and then they take this big burst of damage from the Cataclysm.
Yeah, just again, a really easy way to start things off here. So, and you know, decent pressure can survive most lanes. We've seen Flame do a lot of work in Jarvan, both 1v1 and also teleporting to help his team. So Flame becoming a more complete player and actually using Jarvan, a pick you would expect to only really perform in the early game, actually scaling quite nicely into mid and late.
Yeah, Jarvan helps the team immensely with the armor shred, gives people extra attack speed and whatnot, but I feel like the big thing for him is starting off fights, and when he gets to like just even one item, his Q, his Dragon Strike, will clear out caster minions in a single cast. So Jarvan is actually quite a safe top laner as well.
Certainly kind of a cool drop from both sides. Pretty standard, I think. Teams are pretty practiced on this patch, you can kind of tell.
P11 and 7.
All right.
Let's go. They're currently sitting at 2 and 7 right now. They'd have to win 9 in a row and not drop any games, even this one, against the top team.
That is some faith there in the fans, but Phoenix1 fans starting to feel a little bit more pep in the step as we're out onto the Rift for game number 1.
I mean, Phoenix1 fans have already felt the reward for being loyal before. Phoenix1, when they first came in, had an abysmal record in the first half of their very first split. Then they got an Orion, and then things kind of turned around. They made it and didn't make it to playoffs, but they made it out of the relegation area. And then they came back, and then they got 3rd place. Well, people are saying, all right, you know, this is a team that we could back here and get behind. And Immortals, you know, kind of the opposite, where it was this team started off on a huge surge when they first came in, setting LCS records for games won and matches won. And then it was, all right, they didn't quite make it to finals, not finals again, and then not playoffs last split. So Immortals were looking to remedy that. And both these teams made big roster changes in the past.
Well, it certainly has paid off for Immortals early on, as Xpecial and Olleh just kind of hanging out. Looks like Olleh with Cody is going to roam in and get some vision down, but Arrow right behind his own support is going to prevent any deep trinket wards from going down. I think Immortals were trying to get a spy on the red buff.
Yeah, looking to get a ward down. Hold on.
Now a playback actually, so going to go even further for it, but a good response from P1 to group Ryu there as well.
Yeah, MikeYeung has gotten super leashes in the majority of his games, especially from his bot lane. Braum and Tahm Kench are incredibly good at leashing very early on for your jungler. And so this might be a super leash here where MikeYeung starts the Raptors, kills the small ones, as his bottom lane starts up and kills the red buff. Not kills, it gets it very low so that he can pick it up right after him. And this is a Phoenix1 classic here.
Yeah, pretty much since MikeYeung has entered this team, been a lot of really creative, aggressive jungle parts here. So you can see all the Raptors dead, MikeYeung able to clean those out.
That was very well rehearsed too. You could tell he knew exactly what he needed to do to kill those Raptors exactly when he did.
All right, so kind of where you go from here is usually the interesting adaptation. You're going to finish this camp, of course, but do you smite, do you not use smite, and what camp do you take on the left side?
Yeah, so right here, you don't smite the big Raptor unless you're in a gigantic hurry to like get to the top side of the map and maybe kill Scuttlecrap. But we'll see if he has an experienced Quint or not. And whoa, my God. That is stark.
There's that one guy in the audience with a sign and his 2 mates beside him. That's that 3% for Phoenix.
He's got to get on Twitter, bro. Get in there.
Well, we'll see if the faith rewards P1 this game, but Immortals fans making their voices very much heard. MikeYeung, there we go, smites away that blue, now level 3, and going to take this Scuttlecrab and see what he wants to do after that.
Yeah, they also warded on that top side to make sure that no Rek'Sai gank came in from a cheesy path from Xmithie, but didn't have to worry about it. He's going to be right on his way.
It's kind of one of the things I actually like to look at because we have seen so many interesting refinements in the jungle. I mean, MikeYeung got all this help, and as soon as you see that, you kind of think, all right, something like dramatic's going to happen. He's actually just using it to get maximum efficiency from his early game.
Yep. He'll hit level 4 after he does his wolves. It'll be pretty early on in the game, but the fact that he gets a super leash is big. But look at this, Xmithie on the bottom side of the map taking away those Krugs. But I don't think he even wants to. The wave is shoved in, and they were thinking about diving, so he's just setting himself up to have options here.
Be able to take all this camp away if he wants. Already had the big one.
Oh, if Arrow kills it.
Oh, Xpecial gets hooked back there. He's only level 2. Going to get played in by Olleh, forcing the flash out. IMT. Great little trade in the bot lane.
Yeah. Good flash from him as well, though, because the fact that Rek'Sai was around that full Fury bar, would have been able to maybe get a true damage fight, so not risking it.
And back on the top side, you can see some of these early trades. Zig able to get good damage down initially. Renekton good into almost every matchup, it feels like.
Yeah, Renekton right now, pretty dominant in the top lane. Even when things like Kennen are up, the Renekton just feels like it scales really well with the changes to things like Black Cleaver having more HP on it, people being able to go Titanic Hydra. And then the Gargoyle Stoneplate is huge because you go in, you do your burst, and it's a 4-second duration of just having all those extra stats. And by that time, you'll be able to have your Q up, you get your autos off. And so Renekton is in a really good spot right now in terms of the meta and how he fits in professional play.
Yeah, you can see, again, the reason he's the most picked top laner for this week is Xmithie tunnels back towards the bottom side of the map. Might be lining something up here.
Yeah, he knows Xpecial doesn't have flash, so if Olleh can flash play, there it is.
Good flash play, gets them both, can actually hook arrow after it. Xpecial's going to try and eat him up, but he gets knocked up by Xmithie. Renekton is there for a bit of extra shielding, and first blood over to Thresh.
Yeah, and that was good from Xmithie to come around from the backside. He had set up a tunnel on the Dragon previously, which is key, because when you're very early on Rek'Sai, your tunnel has like a 20-second plus cooldown, so he takes one that's already there, so he has it for this play immediately, and he goes for the person who already has the flash down, gets the heal as well, and it's just really well played there. Olleh setting that up too.
Yeah, really nice combination for Immortals, able to give that first kill over to the bot lane. Well orchestrated and great execution as they pick up first blood. And Olleh actually going very quick Moby boots straight out of the gate after that first blood gold and rushing towards the top side.
Exactly. He's rushing towards top/mid, so we can actually look for a play on either of them. And, oh, wait. Oh, okay. It was like, what's going on? Maybe he was going to go over, but that was a ward there from MikeYeung to see them instead of going over with the repel to the blast cone. Then he would have might have been in for a treat.
Olleh was checking for the ward
Yeah.
just saw, but I think he mismanaged the Scry's Bloom ever so slightly. P1 in general, some nice deep vision. Actually going to spot Olleh on all of these roams. So P1's laner should feel safe, and Olleh's going to have to return to the bot lane after taking down this control ward.
Yeah, and I like this from Olleh just because of the landscape of the whole map. He's able to go mid now. They might be able to make a pincer play on Ryu. There he is. Here comes the Rek'Sai.
Maybe caught shopping. Ryu still with the ultimate, but he's going to get knocked up after. Pobelter going to line up the stuff, and he just lets the ulti go. Xmithie getting that kill.
Yep. Has the full Fury, goes for the true damage bite, maxing the E first as well, so he has a little bit extra oomph behind it. That's another kill, 100% KP in the early game.
And I have to say, that's just so lazy from Ryu. They knew exactly where Olleh was pretty much. They saw Xmithie move through a ward, and Ryu gets hooked.
And he walks out. Like, he sees this hook the whole time, right? He doesn't dodge, he doesn't cancel his recall, doesn't flash it, nothing like that. So, like you said, very lazy from Ryu.
And another great room from IMT. They'll get credit for the kill, even if Ryu's maybe helping more than he should.
Yeah, and what I really, really like about that from Olleh is the fact that what set all that up, hold on, Xmithie's being very active because this red buff's about to come back up, and he has mid priority here. We'll see what happens. But yeah, the reason I really like that play from Olleh is he backs off of getting that very early kill, and then he goes and gets Moby Boots, runs through the top side, sets down some wards, cracks a little bit, places a control ward on the bottom side of mid so that he's in a very good spot for guarding both mid and bottom. And then he goes for a play. And all while that was happening, the bottom lane is a Kog'Maw Tahm Kench going to kill your Jhin. You don't have like a Blitzcrank or a Thresh that can actually make a play. The Tahm Kench is not that potent. So he says, Cody Sun, you're fine. Cody Sun up in CS right now in this bottom lane because he was able to freeze and have it slow push back towards him while Olleh made a play. And you can see Olleh not even down in levels right now, actually up a level over Xpecial, and he's roamed way more.
Yep, looking good here. Going to return back towards this bottom side as red buff protected by the rest of P1. Xmithie was looking to steal it, but a nice response going to keep it safe. Flame gets himself out of the way. We'll get stunned here by Zig, who's going to tank a couple of turret hits just to get some damage down, but not a huge amount done there. Both relatively tanky early on as well. Quick Ninja Tally plus the Corrupting Potion and the Doran Shield for Flame, and early Phage Doran Shield there for Zig. So a lot of trading, but not a whole lot of kill threat. Just 1v1.
Yeah. And his bottom lane, like we talked about kill threat. Hold on. Oh! Thought he was going to keep going. There's the TP from Zig, too.
It's the extra to kind of book it out of the way. He's got no flash, but the ulti from Syndra is actually going to try and dissuade MikeYeung. Ryu, though, able to pick that kill up. Zig not needed, but came just in case.
Yeah, came just in case to zone off Pobelter, who did throw out the ultimate there.
Got repelled by the Elise, which always feels bad as a Syndra. Pobelter still well up in this lane, though. 20 CS lead.
Pretty much.
After that roam from the mid lane, Ryu going to get blue buff, but Like we said, Syndra, once she gets an edge, she usually is able to snowball it pretty easily.
Yeah, and you have to watch out for that as the Kog'Maw. If you just get blown up, because it's not like a Lulu where you just give him wild growth, you keep him healthy with the shields. It's going to be a situation where you have to eat him as Tahm Kench and try to save him from the damage. Yeah, so far, Immortals are just showing why they've been in the top of the defense right now. They've made some early aggressive plays with Xmithie and Olleh, and even just their lanes are doing quite well in CS, save for the top lane.
Yeah, Flame is in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
20 CS down in his 1v1, despite the TP from Zig, but again...
But if you look at his raw CS number of 73 versus the other two laners of Ryu and Arrow, he's ahead of the other laners that are supposed to be behind. So the discrepancy is just as big as the other ones, but he's been keeping up in CS in terms of the overall state of the game. So I think he's in an okay spot here, despite being behind. Yeah,
we've seen Flame, in these sort of matchups before, it is tough to really get traction versus Renekton, so Flame will be okay with what's happening. Zig, though...
It's expected, right?
Yes.
Yeah, whereas this bottom lane, I feel like Arrow, we looked at some of the laning stats with him and Xpecial, where he's actually the worst performing AD carry in terms of CS differential at 15 minutes, where they just play incredibly defensive, and they try not to do anything until they make it to those team fights where Arrow can scale. Pretty much regardless of matchup, regardless of who he goes up against, Arrow seems to be down in CS. And the question is that like a support plus AD carry thing? Is that just a chosen style for them? We have seen that he is a good player when he reaches that mid-late game, but otherwise the lane phase where they take a deficit and they take a loss is quite troubling.
Wow. Right, well, Immortals still staying active. Cody Sun is currently alone, but IMT have infested P1's jungle. And especially
all around.
To get played back here as well. Ulti ready for Xmithie if he needs it. Xpecial doesn't really have anywhere to go. Pobelter just roams down and collects the free gold.
Yeah, question whose jungle is that actually there? Because that just looked like it's all over the place. There's a flash. No. He's going to try to E him and then R. Nope.
Rek'Sai ulti is so funny, but not quite enough damage on the execute there. Instead, maybe just pressure onto the turret.
And that's one of the things I love about maxing E first on Rek'Sai. Like, there's 5 things I love about it. The fact that the tunnel cooldown goes down, the damage of the E goes up, the taking your tunnel cooldown goes down, and this is another one where when you go for the ultimate that's an execute, it's based off missing HP. You just E them and then you R them. And even if they flash away and you didn't get your E damage burst off, but you have full fury, you R and then you E. And you just have this gigantic burst of over 500 damage going at carries who have 1,000 HP at this point in the game.
Well, it looks like a couple of objectives trades starting now. IMT after pressuring that bottom side, able to take that turret. P1 answer in the top lane. Zig able to get that, but the first initial turret gold does go over to IMT, and they also got the Ocean Drake off the other end of that. So Zig and MikeYeung teaming up for this potential Rift Herald, but haven't started it just yet. We'll see if Immortals can get back on the map to contest for it, or maybe P1 don't even try for it, looking mid lane right now.
I think they should have gone for it. They had the time to do it. MikeYeung is just doing his Gromp and then backing, whereas Zig has done nothing for the past 15 seconds. So in retrospect, as that top lane is getting shoved out, they should have gone for the Rift Herald in this time.
Yep, certainly it's kind of the standard trade we've seen a lot of, but no trade means a win for Immortals, not just in the kills that they've gotten, but total gold lead up for them also, looking decent here in the early stages.
Yeah, and just going into like pro play and jungle routes for a second here, the reason that MikeYeung should have done that then is because he can do it, go get his Gromp, and now for the next 30+ seconds, he has to be on the bottom side of this map because his red buff is coming up, his Krugs just came up. If he went top right now, there's no camps for him to actually do. So if he goes to go do Rift Herald, like you say, oh, I'll be back to do Rift Herald now, he potentially loses his red, potentially loses his Krugs, so he missed a window by hesitating. And it's all about efficiency.
That long list of efficiency and keeping track of your camps is the exact reason why I cannot play jungle. P1 going to clear out that vision ward. MikeYeung, like I said, is on the bottom side clearing camps out. And looks like we are going to have a small breather. Immortals just getting in position for their next little objective. I do want to have a highlight in the mid lane because Ryu has a catalyst. And I'm trying to figure out, is he going Rod of Ages on Orianna, which I think is quite curious.
Rod of Ages?
Righteous with
GLP? Righteous Glory? Ah!
Stolen red buff? All right, Xmithie able to smite that one down.
Yeah, and you can see Immortals are doing such a good job of this, and this is pretty consistent for them, where they will play between Pobelter, Xmithie, and then Cody Sun, Olleh. I feel like the jungle the jungle support synergy here on Immortals is incredibly strong, where Xmithie and Olleh are teaming up and making plays. This is something they didn't have with Dardoch, where Olleh would be able to team up with him constantly. And Cody Sun is good enough now to hold his own in most matchups, to the point that they get to collapse, they get to take over the bottom side of the map very frequently. I remember back when we were doing jungle proximity for Immortals when they were playing TSM, that they focused the bottom lane very heavily, and that just kind of shows that they leave Flame on an island, but then they also do this on the bottom side.
And look, Flame, that's fine here. I mean, lost his turret, down about 10 CS still, but able to, again, keep things even, although, you know, 1v2 right
Pretty
now.
good so far. He's about to have 2-3 people come up to him. If Phoenix1 overchase this...
Yeah, I think they already know that's like, all right, I'm in a bit of trouble. MikeYeung flashes out of it. Zig also forced to flash out of the Cataclysm as Xmithie does get the tag onto Zig, but not going to chase.
Well, you got 2 flashes for that. That's a very good play from Flame there. And he's only down 8 CS. This is actually a very well-played Jarvan so far in the early game.
Olleh, no prediction on that hook, so Zig able to dash out from under it. Xmithie looking for the blue buff contest, but just going to get back out of the way as Immortals are 4 strong top, looking to try and siege down the turret.
And you're right, by the way, it is a Rod of Ages. And the reason that Ryu's doing this is because he's so damn scared of Pobelter on this Syndra. Against the Syndra, I've seen this build a few times, where you just make sure that you have the Rod of Ages, you make sure you have extra HP, and then there's like a Leandri's comes in next for even more. I've also seen some Oriannas put like 3 points in E very early on for the extra MR when the ball's on you, but this one he decides to go for item build as opposed to skill order, so he can still have that Q and W damage in the mid game.
Kind of an interesting adaptation, but unfortunately not helping in the CS front as Pobelter been very proactive in this game. 30 CS ahead with a kill and an assist.
Right, we talk about 30 CS ahead, but just look at what time it is in the game. He's 15 minutes in with 163 CS. He's ahead of the curve by a good margin here, whereas 15 minutes in and you see somebody with like 135, you're like, that's pretty damn good, right? Cody Sun is at the 10 per minute mark, and Arrow is lagging behind, but just in terms of where they are for the time, it's still really good for the Syndra, who's very far ahead.
Yeah, looking good so far. That hook was nuts from Olleh. Arrow going to get eaten up by Xpecial. Flame going to TP in to look for that juicy double kill. No Cataclysm available, but Cody Sun's going to open fire. Xpecial taking shots.
And this is all the zone for the Rift Herald that Xmithie's been doing this whole time. So they're actually picking this up on Immortals side by putting pressure top, not putting 5+ people on the Rift Herald. This is a pet peeve of mine where it's like, I'm going to go do Rift Herald, and 5 people show up to do Rift Herald. I'm like, you have way better things to be doing than helping me right now. You can shove waves, which prevent laners to come to the Rift Herald. You can do many other things aside from just attacking the Rift Herald itself.
Well, this is going to give Zig the turret in the bottom lane, but Immortals should push through here. And maybe
they have Rift Herald
with the Rift Herald, exactly.
Right? So if they put so many people here, they might be able to throw it down, but I feel like you use it on mid-turret. I feel like Rift Herald is best served on the mid-turret when that tier 1 is still up.
Well, we'll see exactly what Immortals want to do in the next few minutes, but do get the outer turret there. Zig's still working on that bottom turret, but should get it on this next wave. And complete that turret trade. P1 still keeping that gold close.
And you can see Xmithie's build, Warrior into Hexdrinker with Emax. I think this is one of the best Rek'Sai builds. I was talking to Dardoch a whole bunch about it last night, where you go Warrior enchant because you have huge, like, over 1.7 AD ratios and bonus AD ratios. So you go Warrior for the 60 AD. Then you go either Black Cleaver or you go Hexdrinker into Phage, and then you go from there, depending on how much magic damage the enemy team has. And Xmithie went, all right, I'm against Elise, Orianna. Kog'Maw's damage is mostly magic damage with a % HP, and also Tahm Kench.
Really nice stun. Good play, MikeYeung. Olleh with the lost flame-powered auto takes down the Elise. And Pobelter now holds on to that ultimate, still got another kill coming.
Man. So this is the point in the game where you look at your rune page and you go, man, do I have enough MR in the jungle? Because some people opt for a little more cooldown reduction, trying to get a little something back there, and that's what MikeYeung does. He has 7.5 cooldown reduction. He only has 33 magic resistance. Pobelter has 27 magic pen.
That's about to be more. It looks like another fight brewing out. Ocean Beck already done to Immortals, so now Zig gonna get caught. Goodbye, Pobelter. Cleaning up yet another kill.
Yeah, and it's so early on in the game that people don't have MR at this moment. Zig, 44 MR. Pobelter has 27 magic penetration. He's treating him like he just has half of base stats. Hold on.
Ooh, good eat, but a great hook from Olleh to follow. Now Xmithie gonna knock him back up. Xpecial tries to spit him out and save him with Flame. He's flanked around. Flash ults in as Pobelter takes down the Tahm. Xmithie now lining up for the execute, but just gets the kill 1v1. He will go down on the other end of it, but well worth it, I think, for Immortals.
Yeah, constant plays here from Immortals, and the only thing that really doesn't go their way in this play is that Xmithie doesn't have the Rift Herald to put down because he's dead.
Oh,
and
no.
Another CC!
Good cleanse from Ryu, though. Pobelter actually still has his ultimate, by the way. I thought he used it on Tahm Kench, but not necessary. Like you said, Syndra just kind of at the point where she's destroying everyone, just like this.
Yeah. We'll see here, Olleh walks up. The hook will pull Tahm Kench back. Xmithie then gets the knockup, backs up, casts the R as Xpecial's going down, deals some damage to the thick skin, and then he still has the E, the ferocious bite, and gets it off there with the full fury.
On the extension as well, turret being taken down by Immortals, so now 3 turrets to 2. Do have the outer ring felled, and Goldie keeps growing as Immortals play up and aggressive. Blue buff attempts here by P1, but not really a safe place to be, although bringing a few more around should make sure they get it. Immortals not going to overextend into a 2v4 as Olleh tries to take the Grump. Oh, got it! These flame-powered autos, man, doing some work today.
Yeah, can we just talk about Olleh for a second? 100% kill participation in this game. Hold on, though.
Arrow does get devoured by Xpecial, but seems so reckless to be standing there. Thankfully, Tahm Kench pretty good at saving out of position ADs, and P1 were playing up and aggressive to try and take another turret. So can't fault him completely, but does look a little silly.
Xmithie uses the Rift Herald because it's about to expire. He's had it for a very long time because he hasn't upgraded his trinket yet or anything, despite being level 11. And
this will be highly impactful.
Nope, they were able to do enough damage to it with the eye on the back before it charged. It just seems like a throwaway there from Xmithie.
I mean, they would have taken mid-outer, but that happened anyway.
I feel like they tried to get the blue buff in that time and use the Rift Herald for that, but instead it leashes as Pobelter, I believe, hold it over the wall.
And this one might go over to Ryu. Xmithie, though, still lining it up, but Ryu able to take it down with his burst. And P1, again, regrouping here. Still pretty far behind, unfortunately, for them, as Pobelter pushes in that mid-turret. Now, fully Andrew's actually completed. So you mentioned his magic pen earlier. That number has gone significantly up now for Pobelter, and no one on P1 has any defenses.
Yeah, Pobelter is at 43 magic penetration. Renekton has, against him, Renekton has only 3 MR. MikeYeung has 0. Orianna has 0. Kog'Maw has 3. So there's only 2 people, and save for Xpecial, that have any magic resistance, and it's not even double digits.
For clarity's sake, that's not the actual amount of MR they have. That's the difference once you take the pen out from their magic pen.
Exactly.
Magic resist, excuse me. I was like, what? How does he have 3 MR? Okay.
Well, because he's got 46 MR.
Yeah. Correct.
MikeYeung has 34. It's pretty ridiculous. Even just the Qs are going to hit so hard.
All right, MikeYeung's out of here.
That was interesting.
Flame just ulted him for a bit of fun, I think. But Thresh is still on for IMT. See, Zirene, I have to explain it because I don't understand maths.
Oh, that's okay.
Clarifying for everyone else at home listening that also doesn't understand maths.
That's the thing is, I do a whole bunch of assuming at some points where it's like, oh, people know exactly what I'm talking about. And then other times, I don't, and then I over-explain. So that's why I keep you around patient.
Oh, no, Xmithie, he's out. Oh, actually, this could be a turnaround. Nice route there onto Ryu. Pobelter, let it go, Arrow! Oh, the gameplay feels bad there for an AD, but that's the problem with the big Syndra, and now playing and a re-engage onto Xpecial. No real carries. Olleh, double flash play. Zig's still the target. Maybe good stun back from Pobelter. Off to the flank down back on the right-hand side. Flash order from Ryu, who's going to seal the kill. To cleanse some Ryu through the knockup's not enough. Xpecial able to devour might be enough for Xpecial. He's going to go down to Cody. Xmithie leaps on top for the execute. And that's 4 dead on the side of Phoenix1.
Yeah, only MikeYeung up, and they might have enough to actually go for this Baron. We'll see. If there's a honey fruit around, then they can pretty much go for it, because Flame will have, there it is. Give Xmithie some HP off of the passive, and just have Flame pick up the honey fruit, and there they go.
Pretty confident as well from Xmithie. Used 1 charge of his smite, but will be back up in about 5 seconds or so. So should have it for the Baron once that's slow enough, and MikeYeung, I'm not sure he's going to be fast enough to get a look in before it goes away.
Yeah, and combine that with the ferocious bite, 350 damage. But yeah, stick around. Arrow's here too. It's at 2,000. He's getting vision.
Just zoning
as
well.
There's the repel over.
MikeYeung trying to get in there. Actually, maybe close enough, but not quite. Baron does go over to Immortals. Cody Sun able to take it down, but a kill on the backside there. Xmithie did die, but so did Mike, and IMT were able to secure it.
That was so close, and I have to watch that again because Arrow got very far in there, still had the flash available. And this right here, Pobelter actually kills Arrow with just Q and R. Hits him with the Q, and R's him. Arrow even heals in the middle of it, and that's still it. 100-0 there with 2 abilities.
And then the fight continues, and You think Pobelter's out of it, but still useful.
And he's super low on HP, but he comes around and gets a great 3-man stun. That was an insane scat of the week there. And the fact that Pobelter dies afterwards, the damage has pretty much been done there. He's routed the entire fight. Normally when you get that low, you're just out. You're going to play it safe. Pobelter says, we're far enough ahead that I can take this risk, and it pays off huge.
Yep, and actually got Ryu's flash out of the deal. Wouldn't have died otherwise, so smart play there from Pobelter. Infernal Drake as well over to Immortals, and this game is vastly out of hand for Phoenix1. 7,500 gold up for Immortals and not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, Phoenix1 have that pretty weak early game, and then their macro game late is a problem as well. It's just their team fighting when they are even, on even footing, that is actually pretty good for them. That's kind of the big strong suit here for Phoenix1. But like Arrow's down 70 CS right now. Even for the time in the game that it is, he's super far behind.
Certainly is. And Immortals with 2 minutes of Baron buff to get work done with. They're going to start sieging up some more turrets. 3 items done for Cody, 3 almost done for...
Oh, yeah, Flame is 4 levels up over Arrow. Like, this is disgusting. Arrow's level 11, Cody Sun's level 14. I don't think I've seen a difference that big in a long time in just 80 carries.
You can see Flame's team fight ready with the stone plate finished a little earlier than normal. IMT is going to take over this bottom side. Flame going to work in on that turret. Doesn't have TP, but doesn't really need it, given how condensed the map is for Phoenix1 as Immortals able to take down their first tier 2 with this initial wave of Baron minions.
And just looking at item discrepancies, like you said, this is so bleak right now. It's like 3 items for Cody Sun, 1.5 for Arrow. This is ridiculous.
It is. I mean, we can even translate that into an actual gold value. Oh my goodness, don't look. Oh, don't look. It's not good.
3,500 gold. He has 100, almost 150% of the gold. It's not like double or anything like that just yet. That is a massive amount. You can see the 2 carries for Immortals have been getting very fed this game. And I think Olleh has been a huge part of this.
I have to agree. I mean, in general, the whole team's worked well together to kind of get to this point, which is a 10,000 gold lead pretty much. And Flame, he's just going to try and 1v1 Arrow with a bit of help from Xmithie. Gets tagged for the ultimate. Xmithie just has to be patient, but Flame might have gone a little too far forward. Xmithie going to book it as well as Ryu was there for protection. But
shooting catfish in a barrel.
Now Xpecial has to take all those bullets. Does manage to tank them all. Here comes Pobelter. Assault not done from Immortals. Gonna siege up this turret instead. Arrow rooted. Keeps getting marked. No overcommit. Hook there onto Zig. Damage coming out. Oh, shockwave there from Ryu, but the redemption is gonna reset it for Immortals. And just too far behind on resources to really contest, despite some nice plays there from Phoenix1.
And we rarely see the redemption now come out that early on, because the heal on it got nerfed, and now it benefits triple from having healing and shielding power. So you want to build things like Ardent Sensor alongside it. And for tank supports, you usually want to build the Locket because it has more of that scaling off of your HP and the stats that you're going to buy. But this redemption, I feel like Olleh is just so far ahead that he says we need this to keep the siege up, and nobody's really going to burst us just yet. We may see a Locket come out for him because if Ryu in this game stalls out, might be able to do something with that shockwave.
Is it going to collapse that tunnel?
Getting the Aegis.
Items continue to grow up for the rest of Immortals as well. Cody working on item number 4. Deathcap now actually finished for Pobelter, so a massive amount of AP, 490 right now. And Flame also still working on his next item here. Looks like he'll be finishing that Titanic Hydra in relatively short order. And P1 just trying to hold on at this stage of the game.
I don't really know how much there is to hold on to here. The map is pretty much decimated. They don't have inhibitors down or anything like that. So this hasn't been, I mean, this is a steamroll of a game, but it's not completely over, right? I know that there's that meme where it's like, you don't say it's over till it's over, but it's like they haven't taken inhibitor turrets yet. And that's what always kind of signals to me, all right, this game, pretty much out of it. The level discrepancy and all that is completely bleak, but the fact that there's a Kog'Maw and a Orianna, you can wave clear for a bit. You can kind of keep those turrets alive. No, but Immortals, I mean, the chance of them winning right now is like 90%.
Yeah, insanely high.
And that's why we watch, because that 10%.
I mean, we'll see what Phoenix1 have left in the tank, but news is getting worse for them, unfortunately. The next streak is Infernal, in case Immortals need to any more strength. Great hook. Good devour too. Xpecial making sure to protect his jungler as P1 are trying to get some vision around this siege, but Immortals can just wait and do it again. Olleh shove the hook right back up.
Yep, Flame's gonna shove top lane. Zig's gonna be in the mid. Kind of just pushing the waves in. Arrow will clear bot. Now it's time to clear mid. Zig will go top. Hopefully see Xmithie on the side with the wards.
And again, just Immortals, just complete hold they have on the map. Like, they're just going to push waves until an objective spawns, and they're going to take it.
Yeah, it's like 50 seconds until Baron or Infernal Drake. Pastry, what was your favorite part of Australia?
My favorite part about Australia? I don't know, man. The coffee.
Really?
Yeah, it's the one thing
is it that different?
Yes. Oh, yes. We do not have time left in this game for me to explain all the differences.
It's going to take you more than 30 seconds before an objective spawns to tell me about how great this coffee is?
Better than here. So, okay, this is what happened, right? So, Australia's a country full of many, many, many different migrants, right? That kind of makes up the makeup of the country, especially one of the condensed cities like Sydney, where I'm from, where so many different cultures exist, which is cool because you can get a lot of different things from different cultures in like different spots around the city. One of the things we took, I don't want to say stole, because, you know, I can hang out, but was coffee from Italy. So we learned espresso from the Italians and then just kind of continued to build on it. So we kind of have the best of both worlds, where the actual beans we source, the way we pull espresso is, you know, as the Italians traditionally did it, after many, 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 many years of coffee culture. And then on top of that, we kind of perfected ways to make it, ways to pull it, ways to source it, and then ways to actually mix it with milk to kind of form probably the best milk coffee in the world, in my opinion.
Milk coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because everyone here in the US drinks black coffee, right? That's the most common thing you drink?
I don't...
Starting to see... Trust me. Everyone drinks black coffee. And we're starting to see a little more espresso come through. But it's just not the same level of experience or training yet to really get it anywhere. Super good. So trust me, if you ever come visit, I'll let you know where the good spots are.
Yeah, I'm not much of a coffee drinker in the first place, so we'll see if you look at
coffee,
this.
It will change your life. Almost as much as that hook.
Oh, he's going for
game. All right, they got to kill Pobelter down. Flame going to TP in though. Immortals not done. Arrow might be too far forward here. MikeYeung okay. Hook
Zig in the back line.
As well, but Zig now going to get tied up. Xmithie needs to get back towards his team, but Flame going to jump in on the back line. Look for the fight. Damage on the other side as they're just tanking everything up, but P1 actually fight their way out of that.
10%, baby. That's what we were waiting for. That fight there. Wait a second. Okay, you know what?
Call it 5%.
Caster Curse coming in strong.
All right, so P1, they get a couple of kills and they delay the Baron take from Immortals. They did also pick up that second Infernal. So Immortals still with plenty of strength. Oh my goodness, that was one bullet by Cody. Cody, yeah, he wants to step forward and take it. Good devour there from Xpecial. Gonna keep their AD alive.
And now they get to CS for a little bit, get some items, protect their bottom turret before things go down. And yeah, this right here, this is MikeYeung. MikeYeung jumping forward. The burst there. And he gets out alive too. Hits the blast cone and jumps away. Cody Sun's looking for that shot onto him. Then Zig comes in from the back. And Zig doesn't immediately jump onto Cody Sun there, who's really the last remaining big threat in this fight. But then goes in to protect the rest of his carries. Arrow flashes away. And they kill Xmithie. But then Zig ends up going down from a deadly flourish. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. It was just Olleh's Ignite. That's right. The deadly flourish came afterwards and it was dodged, but same position. And it started up again.
Yep. Yeah, reset the situation, and now Xpecial's going to get picked off here. Can't save himself, perhaps. He pops a thick skin, but Cody, almost 800 damage on the crit, now going to chase in on Ryu. Can't cleanse out of the Cataclysm, buddy. Shit. And there's the double kill for Cody. Arrow getting chunked. Pobelter able to snipe him down with a Scat of the Week. And they're trying to fight and maybe kill the jungler, but Z going to get left out to dry as well. Pobelter with a double. That's 4 dead once more on the side of Phoenix1. A make up 5 as MikeYeung falls. Cody collects the ace.
And yep, that's going to be it. Immortals are now going to just push for the base. There's 30+ second death timers on everybody but Xpecial. And Immortals asserting dominance from just the beginning of the game onward.
Well, Inhibitor's finally going to get taken down, but it may just signal the end of the game rather than the last step before it. IMT are going to go for it. Long death time is here for P1. Nexus start #1 falls to the Flurry. IMT working on the next one, and that's going to be game here. Xpecial Going to try and defend what he can. 10 seconds left on Ryu and Arrow, but the carries will be too late. Xpecial zoned back into his fountain. The Nexus falls an IMT with a very clean-looking game one.
Just about as good as Australian coffee.
Almost as good.
Very convincing.
I see what you did there.
But the bottom lane, 0 deaths between them. Almost 100 CS up there for Cody Sun. That was just a shellacking.
It was. You're just like ripping Australianism out now.
Yeah, they put a shrimp on the Barbie. You guys say that too, right?
No, we absolutely do not say that. It's prawn, not shrimp, but we are going to break the game down here. Immortals, just a comprehensive victory, it feels like to me, from Champ Select all the way with how they executed. This is the Immortals that have just shown why they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, their pick and ban, was pretty much like they were just securing things
standard.
that were like power picks in the meta right now. They got the Syndra for themselves. They got 3 of the most picked champions for their role. And I feel like they definitely had a lot of pick potential going for them. But I definitely think the way that they played it, Olleh's early roams pairing up with Xmithie, those 2 guys paired up and really just made the whole early game theirs.
They did, and then you can kind of see how the all coalesce. We'll actually watch a 22-minute replay in just a second. Immortals, these are the fights that are able to clean up, because a lot of teams can get ahead in the early game, but few can convert just like this.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about Rek'Sai and Thresh is the early roams on these carries get Pobelter to a point where he's just destroying Arrow, and Arrow gets so far behind. He's the big team fight guy in terms of the damage that they want to deal. In terms of this game, Arrow actually did the most damage on his team, and he did more damage than anybody on Immortals except for Cody Sun. So Arrow was starting to get to a point where he was potentially getting threatening just because of time, but it was really the fact that the Syndra was so threatening and had that burst damage, and I love that from Xmithie. Love seeing the Rek'Sai come out. The guy played it even before it got buffed because he was just really wanting to play that champion. You could see just the damage charts there.
I mean, everything broke their way. Goal difference just pretty smoothly going in the wrong direction, unfortunately, for P1. A little bit blip at the end there, but Immortals very smooth on that game. Early Oceans and then the early Infernals having complete dominion over the Drakes. And they would have gotten a Baron, except P1 did do a nice job keeping the game at a spot where they couldn't get it. Unfortunately, too far behind there, even when Immortals didn't get the Baron, the ace happened and that game ended, so the Baron wasn't even necessary to try and close it out. At least the second one wasn't.
Yeah, Immortals, I think the only thing they really have to retro there is the fact that they didn't close it out a little bit sooner, and they gave an opportunity for P1 to get back into the game, because their Baron setup was a little bit lazy, right? And we had seen some lazy play as well from Phoenix1, where Ryu was sitting there, the Thresh hook from Olleh comes out, and it's kind of like, here's a kill for you guys. Why don't you just take this in the early game? And those are things that are kind of unacceptable at the pro level, right? He sees that coming, bright as day, and he still doesn't dodge it or flash or anything like that, and uses his flash anyway.
Yeah, it is a bit uncharacteristic as well for Immortals to be so far ahead and then actually do the last few steps maybe less perfectly than we've seen from them, because one of their big strengths has been Baron control, but that was kind of a weird Baron that they set up, maybe just forcing because they're so far ahead.
Yeah, I always feel like when people get so far ahead, criticizing them for not closing it sooner is always one where there's so many rabbit holes, there's so many things like, oh, the composition, like, how are we going to wave clear against this Orianna? Is it good to dive a Tahm Kench who can then reset the Kog'Maw? So the way that Immortals would close it out with a Rek'Sai or a Jarvan is to dive, but there's ways for them to peel back the dive. So I feel like they played it pretty safe and just tried to get Immortals, or tried to get P1 out of their base to fight them, and the fight just didn't go their way, and then they had to reset and try again.
Yeah, well, last one did certainly break their way, and we'll see if Phoenix1 can bounce back when we return for Game 2 versus Immortals. After our commercial break, stay tuned for an examination by Zirene and Dash on some of the creative jungle routes we've seen so far this split.